Yo, 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 what's going on? It's your boy Cool Ya P of the ShoPowSho. Before we get to this week's episode of the ShoPowSho, I want y'all to check out this amazing festival that I'll be collaborating with my folks over at the Mixed Asian Media Festival. Here we go right now. Check it out.
In 2017, we launched HapaMag, inspired by my blog, Miso Hapa.
For many of us, it has come to represent a space for us to express our mixed racial heritage with Asian or Pacific Islander ancestry.
To be Hapa is to be a part of a diverse and growing community with many perspectives.
In 2021, we made the decision to move to a broader future by renaming ourselves Mixed Asian Media, MAM for short.
In celebration of this re-identification, we present the first Mixed Asian Media Fest, MAM Fest, a glimpse of Mixed Asian and Pacific Islanders in their art forms, including art, film, theater, and dance.
In light of recent events, MAMFest will be an online event. However, we're hopeful that future years will allow us to meet in person and gather in physical space.
And have a creative project? Submit to MAMFest on filmfreeway.com.
Yo, what's going on? This is the NOC, the Nerds of Color, and we are back with another ShoPowSho. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Cool Ya P, your Babinka boy, your Adobo bro, leader of the Holla Holla Homies and the Sena Gang, and I am back with the amazing Ates, Viva Valentina, and Cataphoric. What's up, ladies?
Hey, what's up?
Good.
Hi, Patrick.
Hey. Another day, another amazing day. We're keeping it lit in 2021. We're not going to let the 2020 blues come into this year and bring us down. We're going to
2020 who?
Exactly. Who's that? I don't know you. Stay back there. We're going to have fun now. So, yeah. We brought it in 2020 and now into 2021 with ShoPowSho with amazing people, and we have another one for you. Let's welcome Adobowasabi Designs Destiny. What's up, Destiny?
Hello.
Great
guys.
to see you.
Awesome.
Welcome. We are really excited to have you and and talk about all that you got going on. But I want to especially note as a prior service person, you are currently serving. So I want to thank you for your service. And I salute you, girl. Thank you.
Thank you for your support. Definitely, for sure. Especially coming from a veteran.
Definitely. So welcome to the show. I'm going to throw it to Viva Valentina, and we're going to kick this off. Let's go.
We always want to know, where are you from? Like, really from? And like, where are your parents from?
Definitely. So I get that question a lot.
Oh, we all.
Yes. I usually say that I'm from Northern California. I'm from Sacramento, California, so very close to. I know a lot of the podcasts talk about like being from the Bay and that Bay life, and California being so multicultural. So I'm originally from there, but my nationality is is a little different. I'm a Black, white, Japanese, Filipino, and Native American. So a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
I'm not Latin. That's like the only thing.
You're talking to the Mestizo Mafia.
I know.
So welcome to the Mestizo Mafia. You fit all the categories. What's up, Hoppers in the house?
Yes. But my mom is from Michigan, actually. Not born and raised, but born and conceived in the Philippines. My grandmother is from Samar, Eastern Samar, in MacArthur, where MacArthur Planet, came and kind of stormed the beaches. That 1940s storming the beaches. That's where he did that. And then my grandmother came from what was it? The base out there. I forgot the base's name out in the Philippines. Clark Air Force Base or Clark Air Base, and then brought my mom to Michigan, married my grandfather, and then they unfortunately got divorced and bring him out to California and Sacramento.
Nice.
So that's my Filipino roots. Very similar. On the other side is Japanese, so very different, very eclectic cultures. Good parties and good food.
I love it. Yes.
Definitely.
I bet with like that much of a mix, how much of like, how do I ask? How much of like
culture stuck?
Yes. I'm like, what am I asking?
So Filipinos are usually Catholic, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's usually the predominant religion. I'm actually Buddhist.
Nice.
So I get that from my dad's side, the Japanese side. But I grew up with, doing the manapo, the hand blessing. I would go to church, but only as a visitor with my grandma would bring me, but also she would be like, oh, you can't see this. Oh, it was kind of like, you're Buddhist, so I can't bring you somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
But Buddhism is definitely a way of life, and it's very different from your normal, typical Filipino culture. So I'm missing that part of the culture, definitely.
Okay. So let's talk about the love story that brought you in. Okay, so we know where they're from because it's so beautiful of these mixed cultures coming together. Like what we've all experienced of being a mixed kid. Do you know the story of how they fell in love and then you coming into the world and all that?
So I was thinking about this the other night, and I was like, how can I come up with a really good story? So have you ever seen Heaven on Earth?
Yeah, it's been a minute though.
It's like Vietnam time, right? Vietnam war bride coming. But there's a scene, this is totally stepping in a different direction, but there's a scene about her coming to America, and then also her shopping in a grocery store, fully stocked, frozen foods, a plethora of different type of foods. And I was like, okay, that's probably the same type of experience that my grandmothers went through, just coming to America and coming from, they were very poor.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why they came to America. But I was like, wow, that's an awesome movie. That little snippet is a good depiction. Sorry, I totally side-trailed on that one. But
no worries.
I thought that was a really, really influential scene in that movie.
But that's real immigrant stuff that, that's you hear from your
Yeah.
family and everything like that coming over, and why, it's for, as much as it was hard for them to leave their homeland and everything like that. And that's, a very long story that we'll dive into in other arenas.
Definitely.
But yeah, it's real talk. But yeah, your parents coming together and how they fell in love and then birthing you.
So my parents are the people that came from Japan and the Philippines, and my mother was the first generation. But basically, World Wars.
Yeah.
That's how it happened. The Korean conflict. I shouldn't say World Wars. It was a conflict.
Mm-hmm.
And then Vietnam.
Yeah.
So those two conflicts definitely brought them together. I will say I don't know the specific on my mom's side, but I think they met at a club, but I don't really know what a club is.
Okay.
So I'm not gonna go in detail about that.
Yeah.
But that was in the Philippines, and that's how they met.
Okay.
I'm not even gonna question what a club is.
I've done that with my parents because that's kind of how they met and all that.
Oh.
Oh yeah. So I'm with you, girl. My mom tried to say, nah, I wasn't really. Yeah, it's well, that's a whole nother episode. So what would they tell us about a young Destiny? What would they tell us about a young you?
A young me. I was very shy. Very shy.
Okay.
I was the kid that was like, don't look at me, and hiding under the table. So I've definitely blossomed.
Okay.
Hence I'm here with you guys talking.
Of course.
Yeah.
So what do you recall what you're into as a kid and just growing up here? And can you talk about growing up it was California, right? When you settled?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, Sacramento. Yep. Yeah.
Let me think. I would say I was more of a tomboy, but not that tomboy like that, but tom girl, I guess.
Yeah.
I was into sports. I liked soccer or anything that was like physical, hands-on. So I think the first thing creative, my mom would throw at me like little bead weaving kits, if that makes sense. Like those intricate bead weaving kits that were like $1 at the Dollar Tree store. So that's
so that was probably the early start of you designing jewelry.
Yes.
Then, I think. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
the beads have gotten really small.
Yeah.
Yes.
So any other incidents of well because you come from such an amazing blend of cultures, can we talk on just how that was for you, and when did you realize you were different than anybody else, that you were around, and were you treated any
so a lot of the trend items that your guys' podcast that I've realized was that moment. And I didn't experience that moment until I joined the Air Force. Yeah, because I lived in Northern California for so long until I joined the Air Force, and you don't realize it when you're in it, but when you get out of it, that's when you realize it. And I lived mainly in the South. So right now I'm in Florida, but my last assignment was in Georgia. So going from Northern California, like a hub of every type of culture, every type of food is so good. Oh my gosh, so good. and then going to Georgia where it's like, oh, let's have some fried green tomatoes, which is good, but it's not my favorite.
Yeah.
Chicken and waffles?
Chicken, they had that in LA, but I'm a northern.
They have
girl,
Roscoe's
so.
in LA. Come on now. You haven't had real chicken waffles until you've gone to Roscoe's.
I guess I haven't. Snoop Dogg would probably be really mad at me if I said if I put them down.
So Georgia to Florida, so it's more so feeling the differences there. So then what was middle school? So really middle school was no problems, high school.
Not really, because
your family would do that you can recall that you loved?
So I guess so activities that I loved.
Or didn't
like I said,
what did you not like about your culture that you were forced to do,
So like I said, I'm Buddhist. I would have to chant every day and night. So I'm Soka Gakkai Buddhist, and I have a shrine, and I open it up, and then I chant to it. Growing up, getting to, sit in front of something for 10 to 15 minutes is really hard for a kid, right? So that's one of the things that I did not like to do, because all I wanted to do was go run around and play. So that was one of the things, but it turned out to be a very awesome, I learned how to be a leader through the organization, Soka Gakkai. And then just growing up in Buddhism, it's a whole different ball game from Catholic religion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it gives you a whole different outlook at life, and then how other people react to that. How was that for you, and being so young at that time, and not everybody was doing the same thing as you? Can you talk on that?
Yeah. Okay. I was a lot of the time the token Buddhist, how you have, the token Filipino, or the token multiracial child, this person right here. But there's a lot of different sects of Buddhism. And a lot of people know, the big fat Buddha, the statue. That's not something I pray to, but it's, I guess, a connector item that people can relate to, that I always talk about. But my particular Buddhism, we pray to a shrine, and we pray that a lot for ourselves and our growth as a human being, and to treat people with respect and treat others with respect. Very similar to, I think it's the 10 Commandments, right? So I believe religion is very, very universal in thought.
Yeah.
Just how you go about doing it is very unique to each religion.
Would you say that religion was the most different thing that made you feel different than your race was a difference maker? You know what I'm saying? How that's what the world likes to do, and is label
put you in a box
and put you in a box. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I grew up a Christian, but I had a Muslim friend, I had a Buddhist friend, I had friends of various religions, and I hated that. I'm going to this church, and that's what kind of made me separate a little bit from the church, is that it kind of pigeonholed you, and you had to only believe this, and you couldn't believe that, and there's these biases that I just couldn't stand, and so I was like, fuck that, excuse my language, but you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not cool. Like, it should be about universal love, and that's what I've always been about. So but then there's also, beyond just the religious aspect, is then we're hated amongst each other because you're white, you're black, you're Asian, you're Hispanic. So for you, how, and you spoke that really, or if I miss it, but like, race really didn't come into picture until you're in the military, where you were feeling that difference. Was religion kind of the same deal as well, or like what that kind of made you feel different? And then, and I'm bringing that up is because, and then as you've heard from other previous podcasts, is that for me personally, those differences made me dive into creative stuff, to be my way and my outlet to get away from bullying or this, that, and the third. And I dove into that head first, and just, that's kind of what blossomed and now doing this. So was that kind of the same journey for you? And just speaking in regards to that aspect and journey of your life?
Difference?
Yeah.
I think in California, it didn't feel as different, because, you had my best friend was Hindu. And then my family was Buddhist, and then my other family was Catholic. It was just like, okay, people are different. There was like one incident that, as a child growing up, was like the defining moment. We used to live in a with other kids, like nothing, they'll be like, hey, let me play with you. And we were on a playground, and this little girl, the question that she asked me was, do you believe in God? And I said, no. And then she said, I can't play with you. And that was it. And I was like, okay, I'll go play with my brother then. But just like that moment, and that was probably middle school or younger, that, you know, I was like, okay, I guess that's you know, people don't understand other religions, and people don't, I guess, people identify themselves as, hey, I want to be only with this type of person.
Yeah.
I think that was the defining moment.
It's like drawing lines in the sand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
Man, that sucks. I'm sorry you had to go through that.
Oh, I got over it.
Yeah. So you draw strength from that, yeah, and you build from there. You know, because people are dumb. People, they never stop being stupid. There's a lot of stupid people in this world.
Yeah, for sure.
So before you joined the military, what were some of the did you have other aspirations, or when did you like really get heavy with art? And why not going to school for art before military, and kind of like where did this, like, these paths or this journey of what you wanted to do in life started happening?
So it's funny because you say what other, I guess, a really constant theme is, hey, what did your parents want you to do?
Yes.
Exactly.
That's on our bingo sheet.
Yes. So my mom's a nurse, which is very stereotypical Filipino. And when I was, applying for college, so I went to Sac State, which is Sacramento State, California. It's the capital. But I went there, and, after you have to apply, you have to put in your major. And I was like, okay, what do I want to do? First thing, my mom was like, do you want to be a nurse? And I was like, no, hell no, thank you. Which, in the long run, there's a lot of sick people, and it's a constant business, especially with this COVID-19 stuff. You're always going to work. But I chose to be a criminal justice major. I don't know why. I feel like that's a solid, like, also very close to being a nurse, in realms of, hey, you have a job. And then I switched and I became a history major, which has no, job connection to it.
Yeah. No parent points.
Yes, for sure. No brownie points in that one. But no, they didn't. My parents would not let me do any type of art major. I thought about doing like musical theater, but I was starting to sing, but I was not anywhere near Mariah Carey or anyone like that. Yeah. So that was not a option for me. That's what I'll say. Not an option.
Art wasn't an option.
So because the family thing, well, Filipino parents, or just POC parents wanting us to, go for where there's a little bit more money involved. So
definitely.
So then how did so that's what you kind of wanted to do or pursue, but it didn't happen, or you decided to leave from there. What made you decide the military?
I've always wanted to serve a higher purpose, if that makes sense. A lot of people join for, education, or they need discipline in their lives, or, hey, this is my only resort. But my family comes from a line of enlisted people, and I wanted to, be a part of something bigger than myself. And that's the main reason. And my uncle was a big, what is it called? He was a big push for me as a child. When he was at Travis, was the closest base to us, in Beale. But he came back from a deployment, and I knew he missed his family, and I was very young and very like, oh man, this is awesome. Like, you get to travel the world and go see stuff that, other people don't see in the world as a military member. It's just a really neat experience. and not everyone gets that experience.
So that influenced you to join. And
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So you went in, you joined, and I don't want to dwell on too much because I've, again, being prior service, there's certain things you don't want to talk about, especially when you're in, and because it's very sensitive of nature. So I don't want to dive in there. But you're now serving, and again, we thank you for your service with what you're doing. But so now you're in at least in a position with your parents that they know it's guaranteed when you're in the service. You have a roof over your head, you got food on your table because they feed you, and you got money coming in. So that was kind of solid. That's what kind of made my parents happy. So that's good with them. And now you've decided to dive into the arts because now you have a pathway. Mom, you can't. I'm in the military. You have nothing to say about that. But now I'm going to pursue my arts. And so talk about the beginnings of Adobowasabi design.
Yeah, what brought you back to art?
Yeah.
So I'll tell you the story about how that name came about. My aunt, she's my ate. I'll tell you how everyone is like your ate.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Or your kuya, so you don't know what family member, if they're even an actual family member.
Tell it.
She is my grandmother's youngest sister. And I grew up as, she's my auntie, so I was like, okay, auntie, the American auntie.
Mm-hmm.
We were having a conversation, I think it was in high school actually. I was making jewelry. I was very into making like polymer clay little charms in high school, and I said, I really want to have a unique name, something that stands out from the crowd. And I was like, oh, Destiny's Creations, and she was like, no, don't use that. And she was like, okay, what about something Filipino? And I was like, well, at the time, I'm learning Tagalog right now, but at the time, I was like, I don't know anything Tagalog or anything like that. And she was like, what about your Japanese? Let's have wasabi, and I hate wasabi. But
oh wow,
like, I know, right? She was like, how about Adobowasabi? And I was like, oh my god, I think people will get it.
Yeah. Tell me at least like adobo.
A little bit.
Tell me at least like adobo. Do you like adobo?
I love adobo.
Okay.
Adobo.
I was going to be like, my heart, you hate wasabi. What? And you better like one of those.
But it's spicy adobo. I love it.
I think I don't like wasabi because this is very stereotypical of Japanese and Filipino. But as a kid going through my bacha on my grandmother's refrigerator, I would open up things, different like Betty Crocker, like the butter.
Oh my god, yeah.
Open it up and
cool
smell it.
Containers.
Yes. and she would put wasabi in there, and I was like, no, I don't like it. I don't like smelling it. It's not a very pleasant smell. It's like Vicks. It's like very pungent.
Oh my gosh, clears you up though.
Yeah, if you want that, but I wanted something sweet. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
So was it just you were able to kind of give yourself more time to get into the jewelry, and then you remembered this conversation?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And then it grew. So that was in like high school. I'm in like my 30s now, and being all adult. So remembering that little story, and then being like, okay, Destiny's Creations will not work. We know this. We're gonna go with Adobowasabi. But I think Kuya P knows I do a lot, and I don't know if I can settle down and do one thing. I like making like these very intricate design of beadwork. And that was learned when I was in college. That takes a long time to even see the bead and then get your little needle and actually weave it together and then making it look presentable. Not even good. Presentable is another thing. So it took a while. Definitely.
Awesome. So let's talk about, so you do amazing, earrings and pieces, and just what are some of your influences? You have stickers available through your Etsy. You have paintings and which are like, some of them are like from the Day of the Dead type of work, like Spanish influence.
California.
Yeah. Okay. So that comes from California. I didn't think about that. So talk about influences. What kind of makes you go this way and that way? What influences you, or what are you?
I need to shut my inspirations off, really. So California, I grew up around a lot of Mexican culture. We would go to Denials, which is a swap meet, and there would be like, I miss it. I love it so much. You would go around and, pick a whole bunch of different produce. It'd be aisles and aisles of produce, which the South is a little different. Not as much, but I would say that was a big influence. My best friend was Lisa Hernandez, and, Mexican culture is for sure an inspiration. Frida Kahlo is an inspiration to me.
Colors.
Yes, colors. Mexican folk art.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. I will say that growing up, I didn't realize the inspiration. And then once I started painting, I would always, want to paint something bright and bold. I don't know how to tame that down yet, but I really like Mexican folk art and just the bright, bold colors. And Dia de los Muertos, I didn't know there's a connection with Filipino culture.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that until I was researching later in life. Hey, I forgot what the not Day of the Dead.
All Souls Day.
Yes, All Souls Day. And making that connection because, colonization from Spain happened. It's very closely connected indirectly by Spain colonization. Between Filipinos and Mexicans.
That comes up. We were just talking about this the last time we were recording. How like technically we're all Hispanic because we were colonized by Spain. We have that connection, I think.
Or Chinese.
Yep.
Yep.
We were talking about that before we started too, how a lot of my family, my Filipino family is very Spanish and Chinese. So I got like both of it. And I remember my mom telling me stories of when she's in the Philippines, talking about when they'd go to the graveyard on November 1st. And she said that, they would go to the graveyards and there'd be candles everywhere and it would just be everything lit up and beautiful. And I remember being like, ooh, spooky, but really cool. And then later learning about Dia de los Muertos and being like, that's a Filipino thing. And then kind of having that shared echo of culture. It's really neat.
It's really cool to find things that are very relatable to other cultures. And I feel like it happens more often than not.
Absolutely. Oh man, when I was joining my sorority is a historically Black sorority, and meeting some of my line sisters. My line sister Hamida, her family's from Sierra Leone, and then my other line sister Fatou, shout out Fatou, she's from Senegal, and they would be talking about their family customs and their culture, and I'd be like, we do that too. And I think it was the similarities in similarities between African culture and Asian culture is that they're very family oriented and they're very collectivist versus like the individualistic view of like American culture. So I thought that was really cool. I was like, oh, I see myself in you, and you can see yourself in me, and I love that.
I definitely, so you sparked something in my brain that was talking about being more towards individualistic view, like more of American view versus the greater whole view. And I think it's, you know, being Japanese and Filipino, it's like, okay, yeah, I understand, like, you know, doing it for the family. A lot of my family in LA, so I have family in LA, they live in one house. And it's hard to explain to someone when that's not a norm.
Yeah.
But if, you know, that's not very different from Mexican culture, living in a house with full of people.
Yep.
But having that mentality of group goal, group attainment of something, rather than, I know I'm very headstrong as a person. So I know I'm very American. I'm not going to lie. That's the other aspect, you know, being culturally aware of that and being, you know, trying to balance the two is very difficult sometimes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So
mixed kid problems.
So
no one talks about these problems.
Well, hey, well, we're here to do it together. And so you talked about how the name Adobowasabi Studio came together. Why was it so important for you to put that in your as your brand, and also with the work that you do with the jewelry and the artwork itself and the stickers and stuff, putting your culture into your art? Why, when you could do so many other things, but you decided to showcase your culture, yourself, through your art? Why is that so important for you?
Because so I'm learning Tagalog right now, which is awesome because my mom doesn't speak Tagalog, but all of my other family does. So it'd be like my auntie, the one that, you know, suggested adobo wasabi. She'll speak Tagalog, but my mom was never taught Tagalog. Just going back to my roots and not having it end at my mom or me, you know what I mean? Like, I speak a little Japanese, and that's, you know, getting back to your roots, knowing your roots, and going back to my artwork. I mean, I probably look like a mad person if you look at what my artwork does.
It's amazing.
It's a little bit of everything. It's a little bit of everything. But I want but one of the things that I am working on is, like, if you know the Kalinga patterns, like Kalinga tribal work. So I'm incorporating that into my artwork. And then also the colors. So I'm once again inspired by color. The blacks, the reds, the whites, the yellows, and a little bit of green. So I'm like incorporating that into my beadwork. So a little bit of everything. I'm kind of a peanut butter spread. Yeah, a little bit of everything.
When did you start when did you start to really like have Adobo Wasabi kind of take off as this independent entity?
That is a awesome question. I think it was not until, you know, I had a stable job and was able to afford it. That's what I'll say. Stable job, able to afford it, and the means and the time to actually dedicate to making things. And then the stickers, I don't know, like, well, I've always wanted to create stuff my entire life, and, you know, meshing those together is awesome. And then also going back to being a Californian, multiculturism is everywhere in California. It's not so much, there's little snafus and little quarrels, but understanding, you know, everyone's different. Everyone has their beliefs, and that's okay. We can live together in harmony. I know that sounds so cheesy, but that's kind of why.
No, that's sweet. No, and I think that's really interesting. It's very like, I think it's very Filipino. Like a lot of the people that we've talked to have had this, this urge or this compulsion to do something artistic or creative. And then they have all felt like it's the very common theme that we've heard, that they felt like, well, no, let me get stable. Let me have a backup plan. Let me go to college. Let me do these things. And then I'm allowed. And I mean, we've heard that from people who were young, like 23 to how old was Abe?
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
It was like in his 70s.
Yeah, like in his 70s.
Yeah.
And they all have said the same kind of like character arc, right?
Yeah.
Like, well, I got to take care of my family. And then I can be
For sure.
And then I can pursue my art.
I think it goes back down to culture and the not priorities. Yeah, it could be priorities too. Yeah. Things that the ideals that you pass down to the next generations, the family.
Oh, definitely.
How about turning it into a business for you? How about that? So how was it setting up an Etsy?
It's a passion. I'm like, I was talking to my husband about this, and I was like, so they're gonna say I'm an artist, and like, what is an artist really about? Do I have to wear like certain clothes? Do I need like a beret? Like I need to like dress it up. And I decided to wear a black shirt, which I'm talking about color and black. All the colors actually, right? Black, absence, and white.
It's kind of a turtleneck, right? It looks very artsy.
Yeah.
I was buying it. I was feeling the artsy vibes.
Thank you.
Desme, I think what you're describing is imposter syndrome.
Oh, hey, that's one of our bingo.
I don't want to mark my bingo sheet.
I know. You decide. You think I'm an artist? I'll be an artist. Okay.
Do you or do you not create art?
I dabble. I like to dabble.
Oh.
The husband says I should not say craft. There's a difference between craft and art. I don't think so. I really don't.
I don't think so either.
It's just maybe the imposter syndrome, like you said.
That's exactly what that is. I will box any art curator, any museum curator who says that there's difference.
I love how Kuya P is like, okay, what's going on here?
No, I was
artist, but
I was letting you talk on art because I wasn't sure I threw a question in there, so I wasn't sure. I was like, okay, I might have jumped in a little too soon, but basically,
no worries.
We were on art, but then turning art into a business, setting up an Etsy shop. How was because
it was hard.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is putting your foot out there.
Yeah.
And just like getting over yourself, your imposter syndrome, and just doing you. Like, I started Etsy. Didn't get hardcore serious until I came back from my deployment, and I was like, it's now or never, and now can be tomorrow, and now can be when I get home.
Yeah.
And I chose when I get home.
Yes.
Yes. So taking that leap of faith,
Exactly.
For sure.
So what would you say is the biggest lesson you've learned that you would impart to a young artist that is in the same shoes as you? They've been doing it, they enjoy it, they want to start their own Etsy shop. What are some tips you would give a young artist?
I would say don't compare yourself to others. Believe in yourself. And I know people like to say specialize in something, but the best people, I feel, are the jack of all trades, master of none. So the people that, think of, was it not Aristotle, but is it Einstein? I forgot which one. But like having a little bit of everything, like influence wise, because like growing up, you know, a lot of Filipinos love to sing. A lot of Filipinos love to dance. Yes. Zumba. I love Zumba. And then, like, that's inspiration. Singing is inspiration. Dancing is inspiration. You know, why I got into jewelry. Yeah. Why I got into jewelry was because I was like, I'm Native American. What do Native Americans do? You know, some of them, they do bead embroidery, or they do very small detailed seed beads, and they have beautiful necklaces and beautiful headdresses of this seed bead. I want to do that. And that's kind of what I, you know, wanted to incorporate. And that kind of goes in line of, hey, I'm going to take that and then make it like Kalinga style, or take that and make it like, you know, use the Filipino colors.
Love it.
And
you know, doing seed beads.
That's taking the different parts of yourself, honoring those different aspects of yourself, of your culture, of your heritage, and then expressing it through art. That's beautiful. How do you not think that you're an artist?
Because there's always
an artist.
There's always that, like, in order to be an artist, you have to make money. In order to be a successful artist, you have to make, you know, X, Y, and Z. You have to be in a, you know, painting. You have to be in a gallery, or you have to have your painting hung on a wall where people are paying thousands of dollars. You know, that's kind of
definitely.
I think the idea behind an artist is, like, you see, you can touch, but that's not you. You know what I mean? Like, it's a skill that is not easily attainable. Like Bob Ross, if you ever watched Bob Ross,
all the time,
he made painting accessible to the normal person. You know, you can just be home and make art. You know, so that, I love Bob Ross for that.
Oh, me too. Oh,
but I'm definitely not a landscape person. I will not do landscapes. But this is beautiful Lake Tahoe. So.
Awesome. So incorporating your Kalingas, I know I'm brutalizing the name, but you're incorporating that into
you
art.
You said it right, Kalinga.
Okay, thank you. So you're incorporating that into your art. What are some other elements that, you know, so that's from the Filipino side. What are other elements that are you looking to do, like from your Japan side, your Black side, your Native American side? What are other things we could look forward to with what you're doing?
You have a lot to work with.
I know.
Yeah.
A lot of inspiration. So I'm a big foodie. So I love to, if you follow me on Instagram, I post a lot about food, and, you know, the theme of multiculturalism goes into my food. I love Thai food. I love Korean food. It's coming from, you know, being very multicultural, being from California, and those options were everywhere available. But incorporating that into my artwork, you know, I have Japanese gyoza, which is pot stickers. Stickers. I do like a Japanese foodie sticker set. If you know what natto is. Yes. How would you describe natto?
Just
acquired. No,
acquired. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, acquired.
What do you think it smells like?
It smells like natto. I can't think of like anything else. Like,
so growing up, they said it smelled like foot jam. And I was like, ooh, I would never eat that. But it looks like Kuya P does not know what natto is right now.
I don't know what natto is.
Okay.
No.
It's a fermented soybean. And it usually comes frozen, and I heat it up a little bit, and then you take it out, and there's a film. You take off the film, and with the film comes like strands of
it's
like
so sticky.
Goo. It's like snot. This sounds so weird. Right
you have to like beat it into submission with your chopsticks to
like
eat it.
Long, yes, snot, like stuff. And it's so good. I promise
It's so good for you,
so
though. It's really good for you.
Is it sweet, sour? What does it taste like?
Fermented soybean, sticky. All right.
Pungent, I guess.
Pungent.
Good.
We are not selling this right now. So I grew up with it. So it's normal for me.
Yeah. I'm down to try everything. I feel like I've tasted it. Being a military kid traveling all over the world, like I yearn for new flavors. So I'm definitely down to try something.
You're gonna have a real treat with this one.
I like chicky tendies, so
we can just sprinkle it on there. With it won't come fast. It will just.
God. Okay.
Have you ever?
We're gonna add it to the list.
This is real good. If you guys are ever in Florida, I will make it for you.
Okay. I will accept it from you.
It's really good. I promise you. Put some green onions and put it on rice. It's
okay.
Good.
Green onions, rice.
Soy sauce.
Language.
Yeah. I rice all day. Rice #rice every day, all day.
Ooh, question for you. If you're saying rice all day, #rice, what type of rice?
Oh, that's a good one.
Mm.
I
eat white short grain, like
short grain,
long grain, everything rice. I'm not sure off the top of my head because I'm not the one that
can't
cooks.
pick a favorite rice.
I can't. Because
really
rice all day, every day.
I mean, I normally eat jasmine, but sometimes I get really specific cravings for the basmati rice.
Oh yeah, basmati.
Oh yes.
Kebab, oh man, that's something like when we're in Northern Virginia, we try to get.
Yeah.
But I think that's one of those things where I love it so much because it's exotic to me. Like I don't eat this very often. So it's special.
It's different, right?
Yeah.
It's like, ooh, let's spice it up with some basmati rice.
Yellow rice.
Exactly.
Like straight up put some, yellow rice with a rolls, because I have a lot of Puerto Rican friends, so I eat rice with beans, all kinds of man. Rice all day, every day. It don't matter. I can just plain rice. I'm good with that. Just give me bowl plain rice. I'm straight.
So I like it for certain things too.
Okay.
So I love the smell of jasmine. Like I could go into a room and be like, that is jasmine rice, and I'm anticipating garlic fried rice, eggs, or tocino or something. And then if it's your short grain, very traditional Japanese rice, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have some miso soup, some nori, and then maybe some natto, because natto's
You can't mix rices though. You got to keep your correct rice
to
your correct cuisine.
Yes, that's the key. You cannot mix them.
This just reminded me of that episode where we were all talking about ourselves for our second episode. So I got to ask you, Destiny, what do you...
You're going back to me. Okay.
What do you put on your rice? Because we had that whole discussion in that episode. I think, wasn't Kat, weren't you the butter? Because you were
we were making
you.
Wait, Kat,
I just listened to this.
It's definitely not my favorite topping, but but when I was growing up, we just boil a bag of rice and put butter on it and ate it because I grew up redneck. Yeah, that's not my favorite way to eat it anymore. But it was how I was raised. Yes,
but you will still slide into that.
Look, every once in a while, you got to eat a little buttered rice. Is all I'm saying.
Nothing wrong with that, but not for me. So are you patisse, a soy sauce? What are you, Destiny?
A black pepper.
A black pepper.
So what would be your guess? Let me ask that.
I feel like you want not to.
Natto.
That's a feeling I'm getting.
What about furikake? Do you eat that on rice? I do too, but that's just because I'm a weeb, so that's not.
So it's funny you guys bring this up because I literally watched this episode yesterday. But I'm weird. I like soy sauce, and then I like sesame oil.
Oh yes.
And furikake.
Yes.
That's very Korean barbecue.
Yeah.
I know.
With the sesame oil? Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love sesame oil with salt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's my favorite
good.
dip. Yes.
I would drink it.
I call it the golden fluid, like
Oh,
Ugh.
gold.
I'm gonna think of that every
nectar
time
of
I
the
eat
gods.
that now. Yes.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
The golden fluid. I'm writing.
I would just probably drink it if it was like a drink.
I love
That sounds
it.
so bad. You're not supposed to do that. Or are you? No. I'm
Or are
sure.
you?
Oh, I miss Iron Age.
All
Kuya
right,
P,
I
we're
love
from
that.
the
Great
visit.
answer. So, how have you ever been to Japan or the Philippines? Is that a goal of yours? Because with you being of all these mixed cultures, do you want to in the future, or have you ever been back to your homelands?
Homeland.
No, I know, right? I was supposed to go to Japan in 2021 or 2020. COVID hit, and then I was like, oh, not this year.
Yeah.
So I have the means, but I don't have the time right now, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Or the authority level, if you're tracking PUP, what I'm saying.
but is life goals. That is a life goal though.
Yes,
for you.
hashtag life goals. Yes.
Yeah.
I would love to go. I think I'm like, I really want to go with like my grandmother, but she's getting, in age of like her 80s, and it would not be a good trip. But I definitely want to go with like my younger cousins. That would be awesome, to the Philippines.
Dope.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, when we get the Mestizo Mafia all together and we all go,
yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
that'll be the time. You got to meet us there.
And then, by then, hopefully we'll be learning more Tagalog.
Here we go. And you can help us out.
Yeah, put your practice.
I'll be like, I don't know her. What's her name? No.
So before we hit you with one of our big questions, at the end that it's coming, but I want to know what with the love that you have for California, and I know you're currently serving. I don't see you staying in very much longer, or I see you finally going back to Cali. You know what I'm saying? Because there's so much you miss.
So judgmental.
From this conversation,
So
in
judgmental.
Cali. Like, is that where you want to retire
until
at?
you leave. I don't know, to be
don't know
honest.
yet?
I really don't know.
You still want to see more of the
Where
world?
I'm from, I don't know yet. I don't know when I want to do when I get older. If that makes sense.
Fair. Valid question.
Yeah.
I think right now, what I have going on is good. I just want to go West Coast, and I'm going to move to Oregon very soon, like in June, which is awesome because it's West Coast. I love Florida. I won't say I love Georgia, but it was a good experience on learning about different cultures. Definitely.
Okay.
But I would definitely love to go back home, maybe for a short period of time, so I don't experience the fires there.
Yeah.
Summer fires, because that's where I'm from. All the fires are
Fire
happening.
season.
Yes. That's one thing that I'm just like, no, COVID, there's COVID, then there's fires, and then people are dying. It's
Maybe later.
time.
Maybe later.
Yeah. Maybe later.
Yeah, Callie's not having living her best life right now.
She's struggling. She's struggling.
All right. We're going to round it out before we let you go with one of our favorite questions. Since we are the nerds of color, we like to ask our nerd check. So what is something that you are super nerdy about, that you love to pieces, your passion thing that you could give a TED Talk on?
So there's a couple, but I would say not a comic book person, but I will say if you talk to me about musicals, I would totally nerd out on some musicals. And I think my favorite musical would have to be Rent.
Rent.
Yes.
Good one.
And another one would be Hamilton, of course. You always have to do shout out to Hamilton.
Amazing.
But I'm a big Mandalorian fan.
Hey.
And I came out with some awesome stickers. with that, and I have Baby Yoda like holding a balloon.
Oh my god!
Remember the
That's
egg?
perfect.
You know the egg?
Yes.
Yeah.
The reptile eggs he was eating. I was like, oh my god, that looks like a balloon.
It is.
So,
Oh my god.
he's eating a
so
balloon.
great.
And then I have Mando's shield,
Mhm.
his helmet with Lumpia, and it's like this, and it says Lumpia is life.
Yeah.
Lumpia is the way. Sorry, Lumpia is the way,
is
but
the way.
Lumpia is life.
I love it. I love it.
So 2 different things going on.
Love that.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for joining us, Destiny. I really appreciate it. Before we let you go, I'm going to have everything in the description below, but tell them how they can, check out your work and cop one of those awesome stickers where Lumpia is the way.
Oh my God, Lumpia is the way, right?
Yeah.
Check me out on Instagram at Adobowasabi Studio. Hit me up, say hello if you want to, learn about me as a person, me as a Californian, and then you can check me out on Etsy too.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
I'm so from California right now. I'm like, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like you're straight up Cali girl, but it's military. It's when you're kind of
you have to tone it down. You have to tone it down a little bit. Let your hair flow.
Oh my God.
Definitely. Well, thank you for, I know you're still living your truth, your journey right now. So this is, a time capsule of this moment when you ever, if you ever want to come back on and showcase what you have coming up again, we'd love to, shout it out and put it out there for everyone. And you're now part of the ShoPowSho family by virtue of this. So you're always welcomed. And we're going to be cheering you over here.
I know, we gotta go.
Yeah. Mestizo Mafia.
Thank you guys so for much. Everything. This was such a pleasant surprise. So all artists have to get over the imposter syndrome. Definitely. I just find, coming soon.
Yes, absolutely.
It's an ongoing journey. It's always an ongoing thing.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you guys so much.
Yes,
it was a pleasure meeting you guys.
Yes.
I'm very honored, and it was awesome, finally get to interact with you guys.
Right.
This is so cool.
Boom. There you go. Adobe
Photoshop.
Adobo. All right, here we go.
Adobro. I'm not helping. I'm sorry.
All right, here we go. Boom. There you go. Adobowasabi Studios, Destiny. Thank you for joining us. That was a pleasure. And again, thank you for your service. Definitely appreciate you for doing that and still pursuing your dreams with your art. That's what I love about this interview as well is, sometimes, being a prior service guy, we feel that, I know for me personally, I wanted to go to college with my art and everything, but then I was nervous. So I was like, let me go this military route. But then I really didn't do much with my art because I just stayed strictly military. It wasn't until after I got out the military that I pursued my art. But the fact that she's doing both, salute. You know what I'm saying? Pops, like I was lazy. So she's doing it. So that's super dope. I love that. How about you guys?
I liked it because it was another example of what Roland said on previous episode about how like if you love art, if you love art, it doesn't go away, it just gets delayed.
Yeah.
So she had brushed on doing her beadwork and doing her clay and doing her art in high school and college, and then like she said, it was only when she had that foundation where she felt she was allowed to pursue her art, and then brought up again the whole imposter syndrome that we all experience, where she's like, well, I'm not really an artist. I'm like, you make art, of course you're an artist. But then and then bringing up again the biggest lie that is told about art and artists and professional artists is that if you're not making money with your art, you're
Yeah.
not successful with it. And
Mm.
I think that's the greatest lie told about art and artists, and it's the biggest barrier to people that want to pursue art. So I hope that if there is any takeaway from this episode, it's don't be afraid to pursue your art. You are an artist if you create something. Crafting is art.
Yes, there's no craft. That's what I got, is that there shouldn't be that craft art distinction, because, you know, you can walk into a museum and see like woven paintings, or you see like 3D modeling that is like, I don't, you know, that uses cross stitch. Like there's all these elements that people use in fine art also get used for crafting, and just, it's a silly distinction.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that one hurt probably the most for me during this, is hearing that kind of self-doubt, and just hearing that she went through that as well. And I know that you ladies have experienced that, and it sucks. So just brush some shoulders off. You're an artist, like keep going. You're doing it. Yeah, but we all go through it as artists, and it either drives you or it makes you quit. And I just hope that people don't quit, and it drives you, and you continue doing what you love and that passion. Another thing that I took in this, with her being our first Buddhist that we've had on ShoPowSho, and I kind of delved into a little bit, but something I would love to tackle in later episodes is, you know, again, we get labeled by race, but then just the whole religion aspect and then that treatment that we get, that racism, that what is it when with race, you know, racism with like who you are, what is it with religion? Is it like, you know, how you're treated differently because of your religion? I'm trying
religious intolerance.
Yeah, okay. That's probably it. I don't know, but you know how that divides us as people, you know. And I'm curious, because I kind of felt that she was seeing more of that, more so than the race thing, until, you know, like she said, in the military, you know. So
and it might be because,
because
she came from California, where it is very multicultural there.
Yeah. And very Catholic too.
And very Catholic.
Especially with Filipino.
To kind of that. To have that, not just like a racial barrier that may or may not have, you know, influenced her interactions with people, but then to have that religious barrier as well, where it's like, oh, that's different. And then even from your own family. But it's very seemed like that difference made her more aware and more tolerant of other religions, like she said about her Hindu friend, and her own Catholic family. And I think that's another big takeaway from multiculturalism, and just being exposed to those kinds of things. The more that you see it, the less different you see these things.
Oh yeah.
And I'm a big believer that in the future, everyone's going to be super mixed. So
exactly,
it's just going to get more and more like it's like that kind of melting pot analogy is going to become reality.
Oh yeah.
So even more so than it is today.
Yeah. So that was great. I really appreciate her contributing that part of to the conversation. And because I can only imagine, like, I know when I was raised Catholic, you know, I know y'all were having to go to church all the time, and you know, and then just the different, especially, you know, super Catholic with all the different things you do in a Catholic church. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Oh. So with her talking about the Buddhist, you know, and those things can drive you away in some way, and then also have your friends look at you differently because you do this, that, and the third. So definitely something I would love to dive into in later episodes. But this was another great one, ladies. Again, learning and building that we always wanted to do with this. And this was another one that added to that. So this was fun. Let's let them go for now and let them know how they can reach out to us. Let's kick it off. Kat.
All right. I am Cataphoric. You can find me at Cataphoric on TikTok, Instagram, or Twitter. We also have a ShoPowSho, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And if you want a little bit more behind the scenes, you can always check out our Patreon or buy us a coffee.
Oh. And I am Viva Valentina. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at viva.valentina and Twitter and chess.com at Viva Valentina XO.
The chess bully.
Yeah.
Yes,
Come
yes,
down.
the amazing Ate's Cataphoric. Viva Valentina, love y'all as always. You make me smile. Appreciate you. I am Kuya P, aka Patrick Michael Strange. You can check me out at Strange Since 1977 and at Temple Far East. Always at the NRW and at New Release Wednesday, where nerds rule the world. And of course, the home of the ShoPowSho at the Nerds of Color, and that's at the Nerds of Color everywhere, where we rep for POCs within pop culture. This was a lot of fun, as always. Make sure you always hit us up to let us know what you would like to see, and we'll do our best to deliver it to you, because this is a kabayan type of collaboration. We want to do this for our people, so let us know. Love y'all. Mahakita.
Love you
Salamat.
too.
We're out of here.
Mahakita din.
Boom.
Well, it's the NOC in full color, you see me? The hard knock life, comics, movies, and TV. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Destiny Snyder from Adobowasabi Studio. Check me out on the ShoPowSho. I'm an artist. I do stickers, paintings, beads, and I incorporate my heritage, which is Filipino and Japanese, and a plethora of other things. Check us out and see ya. Hi, my name is Destiny, and my Filipino heritage means to me history. And history is one of those things that you need to learn from and learn the hard truths about yourself and move on to be a better person.